Hey bro, how's it going?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Perfectly, man. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
No problem. No, it's my pleasure, man. And 101, 102 persons waiting for this. I mean, this is, I can tell you right now, this is the most popular interview we ever did. Not interview, but tech talk we ever did. So let's just
Yeah,
wait a minute or two and we can start. So how's the day, bro? How's everything going today? What you doing?
yeah. Well, first of all, I'm happy. I'm happy to see that many people. I was kind of not expecting it, honestly. um,
Bro,
Happy for that. Second, now I just ended an audit with Paladin this afternoon. So now
amazing.
it's a bit late for me, but
Okay.
uh, yeah, we still yeah we're up to the call.
You see how many people showing up to see you, bro. I mean, you have quite a fan base. You should start, doing some videos, some YouTube, some maybe. You thought of that?
Um, can you repeat it, please? The question?
Have you ever thought of doing YouTube or videos? Because you have quite a fan base.
No. So actually, I don't think that much of it's. I don't think it's a fan base like that. But it's probably even if it's more an experience or experienced auditors. I think that the space is pretty close to each other, and everybody's willing to give and to learn from the other one. So even if you don't really know much of the other person, you have seen it just like several times. It's nice to see his methodology and everything. I
Yeah,
actually started Twitter not very long ago, around five months probably, and I'm not that consistent right now because I'm very busy. But yeah, I mean, if people like it and I also feel that I want to do it, I'll just continue, creating more content.
thank you so much for that, bro. And I think we can start. I mean, people they want to see it. We have 30 persons, man. This is the most watched, at Tech Talk we did so far. So let's start.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have prepared. I have first of all a code base, okay. But first off, because I don't want it to do it very compact and that people don't really see what's going on. I first want to introduce. I will speak first a bit auditing and then about bug bounty hunting, because it's two. I think it's quite different, and basically people that are here on the call, I think they're interested in both, because if you are in one, you're in another one. So I explain first my both methodologies, and then I'll show you a bit um, on the code base itself. Okay, so let me share screen if I can. Let me share screen. I think so. I have here the code base, and here I have. Let me check this one. I have some prepared. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to speak about my auditing process and my auditing methodology, and a bit all the keyword shortcuts and kind of things that help me do a better job, or probably easier. I would say easier job. And first of all, I'm doing mostly right now private audits, but I also did some public audits in the past. And yeah, so for the private audits, which it's a very interesting field where there is not a lot of people going deep to. Generally, what's seen, I think, in the example of Pashov, and there is a lot of other security researchers. There is the normal relationship of doing one audit and that's it, or just having that researcher for any audit that the company specifically needs. Okay. I'm trying to focus more on the relationship between company and auditor. Okay. So right now there is a company called Ambit Finance that they just raised 5 million from Binance, where I got a relationship there to, like, I'm doing like 5 to 10 hours a week. Okay, just auditing their staff, and then the actually compensation, it's much bigger because you also get part from like the company. which that's another way of also for auditors, instead of just doing a short audit for the company, like asking actually for like kind of a partnership or having a small relationship that can actually offer more benefit for the auditor than not just doing a private audit itself and that's it, you know. So then for the auditing part, for the tools, okay, if we actually go for the to the repo itself, okay, I actually use the extension that's called Solidity Developer. Okay, it's a very famous extension. So I think everybody should have it, or if not, I think it's this one here. Okay, and it pretty much I don't really use all these tools that they give here. Okay, but it's really useful if you need to do some easy and fast test in Remix or something, and you need, let's say, you need a signatures of whatever function. Okay, it just creates everything fast, and I don't know. It really worked quite well for me. It's not that I'm using a lot of the tools here, but also if you need some inheritance graphs or anything that you actually need to understand better and to, or even to generate reports. Okay, you actually get here everything itself, and it's much easier to actually understand. Seeing this, you can see everything how it's connected compared to actually going you yourself through all the dependencies and the contracts to actually see it. I think it's a great tool. It's just an extension, so I think pretty much everybody should have it installed. Okay, that's one of the extensions. Also, I use this anchor extension, okay, because here, even if you see the code, that the code it's pretty clean because I haven't gone through this contract still. Okay, I really like a lot to comment as much as I can. Okay, so I usually use these keywords here that you get with the extension. Okay, so you get node, audit, issue, audit, okay, and then audit info and so on. Okay, so you get several keywords, and all of them are used for different stuff for me. So notice when I don't really think there is an issue, but just like to recheck and so on. Okay, so meaning that, for instance, if this function, I see that there is something weird with this get liabilities. Okay, I would put here like some node check later or something like that. Okay. And then I use audit issue, audit okay, and I think there is one or two more. Okay, audit without issue and okay also exists. Audit okay, it's once I validated an issue that previously had an audit issue keyword, and I've seen that it was not really an issue. Okay, or I have already solved it. Okay, so for instance, if this, let's say here you see that it's a hard coded 5,000. Okay, it seems like it's made to actually calculate some liabilities on or something like that. Okay, so generally hard coded values, it's not a very good thing to have, but well, we have to see what's going on here. So imagine this is a something that I've seen that it could be quite bad. So like a medium itself, you can put audit issue. I never mark if it's a medium or a high. Instead, I just have a standardized audit issue for all of them. And then I just would put here what the small issue is, like, I don't know, imagine it's a reentrancy, okay? So you put here reentrancy, and then you just check and validate first, and then you continue with the code. And then once you have to finish a wrap up or just start doing the report or you know, finishing the audit, you just would go here to inline bookmarks, okay? Which is what comes with the extension. And it's very useful because you actually see here that you have all the keywords that I just said, okay? And it brings you to the exact keyword. So if you actually have to go through all the issues that you have marked, okay, you just go here to inline bookmarks and you would go directly through all the issues and just here validate. So, you know, after, if you were having some doubt if it was a valid issue or it was just a false positive, you would just here, okay, it's a false positive, then you would put audit, okay, and then you would put not an issue because, you know, and you would just solve that. So that's from the keywords and from how to move through the findings once you finish, or even if you are not finished, it's very useful too. Then I also use, not a lot, but as I said, I use also this anchor extension. I like a lot to highlight stuff because the important things, I think it's very easy after to get to it. So it's pretty much the same thing as the other one, that it also has the node, but To me, I prefer it to with the Anchor one because it seems like you even see it better. So I use these two highlighters, and yeah, so these are the both tools that I have here. So also before going to the code itself and to start looking a bit to it, I also have two very good tips actually for. Let me actually go to one random code base that it's on GitHub. Mm. So let me pick it just from here, whatever fork. So let's go this one here. So what's very useful, at least to generate reports, okay? So generally you do the report to a specific commit and branch itself, okay? So you just would go to like the file, in this case factory, okay? And then you're generating the report for this exact commit, but you actually want to link to that exact commit during all the future people that read the report and everything actually get to that commit. So you just would be on the file itself and click Y, okay, and you would see that it changes the URL and actually it brings here the commit, okay. This is actually very good for generating reports and doing it much faster. Also, there is another cool thing that it works for to me for auditing and bug bounty, because not all bug bounties are on Etherscan itself. So once you're on the file, imagine there is a bug bounty it's on GitHub, and you kind of are in a rush because you know that a lot of people are looking at it, and you're just specifying one file, okay? So you would go to the specific file in this case factory, and you would click this case dot, okay? And actually it opens your kind of a web editor, visual developer, okay? So you would actually here get the code itself, so it's much easier to understand, and you could do it much faster. So this is another way actually for auditing and bug hunting. And yeah, so pretty much those are the tools and keywords that I use for auditing. So you tell me what you think is best. Should I go to bug hunting or should we start a bit with the code and you tell me.
I think that we can start a little bit with the code. What do you tell me?
Okay. I think probably best just give 2 or 3 uh, tips about bug hunting, and then we go through the code because it will be very fast. Mostly it's shared
Perfect.
knowledge.
Bro, take the time you want. We're not in a hurry, okay?
Okay. Okay. So I think most of you guys are also spotting bugs in Immunify. Okay. And at least for me, once I kind of go to a specific file here, it's very annoying to actually look the code here. So you just I think it's kind of common. A lot of people know it already, but just change the URL to etherscan.net. Okay, it works for I think most of L2s also and other scans. Not all of them. I think Boba scan or something like that doesn't work, but yeah, most of them work. And here you literally have the same thing that you would have in your local VS Code, and you have it here. And it would be much faster and nicer to actually bug hunt here. There's also a GitHub repo that you can actually download source code from Etherscan. I'll tweet it because I don't remember the the specific URL. And another website that it's really really useful, and I think not a lot of people really know about it. It's called Slow. Okay, this website, I mean, imagine that there is this first depositor bug in balls or pools similar to the one that Uniswap does this mint share dead shares minting to solve it. And there was once it started to come up. Okay, it's very useful, this website, because you can actually, if you want to search I don't know, something from Balancer. Okay, you know that Balancer or Corf has a read only reentrancy. And actually Corf has it, I think, in get virtual price. So you would go here, just get virtual price. Okay, and this scans all the blockchain and actually gives you
Wow, that's really
all
nice.
the contracts that are calling this get virtual price. And I would go fucking crazy here, and I just Oh, look,
Yeah.
I know here is a return reentrancy. Just I'm going to scan all the fucking contracts that are using this get virtual price, and I'm going to actually validate if some of them are using it. And I haven't seen a website like this one that actually does this, and I don't think nobody knows it, or not a lot of people. And yeah, it's amazing for anything you need. Actually, if you, it would be, it's really cool to know if you actually search SafeMint. I don't know if it's written like this. I don't know. For the NFT collections, and that's it. If you actually search it the right way, you will see that probably like 80% of them do have a reentrancy there. But you know, as you don't really know which contracts use it, it's on mainnet. It's complicated to spot. But if you're actually searching it here, it's literally you have it here. You have it everywhere. It's just here.
Alpha. That's pure alpha, bro.
Actually, it gives you all the code here. Also, as in a repo, it's crazy. And then you just have the direct link, and it links you to Etherscan. And here you do your due diligence. So that's very good actually for, I think, better for bug bounty. And yeah, it's very useful for me. I think not a lot of people know it. So yeah, we have it here. Yeah, so I think that's all for the specifics. And also, yeah, well, if you plan on bug hunting or auditing, just read everything that you have in Solidit. I was reading some favorite reports today, and the best thing you can do actually to learn is actually read reports. I would even put read reports before auditing, because yeah, it's the thing that has been working more for me. So yeah, also Solidit, it's a great tool. So if we go back to the code base, okay, so I will not go through all the contracts. I will just focus on this one. I just show you how I would go on the first review, because obviously I don't know the content of this contract, so I will not be able to spot crazy stuff. So it will just be the stuff that is on the surface. But yeah, that's so my normal auditing process. It's first doing a check to the README, so to the, how is it, docs. Okay, sorry, my English is not the best, but I'm trying to do my
It's
best.
really good English. Really, really good English.
Thank you. So I try to have a first look to the docs, not very big, because not very extensive, because there is no point in having a very extensive look to the docs if you actually don't know what you're going to find. A very small to know the context, and then I go directly through the code base, and then I just check. For instance, this code base, it's not that extent. I think it has like 20 contracts. So I would say it's an average code base, and then it just you check the main contracts, and then you see where it's better to start for. I've seen a lot of people that actually start for smaller contracts, like they have less lines of code. I usually don't do that. I actually I don't know how I choose them, but I just choose them how I see that they are going to be easier for me. I think everybody that actually audits has some topics that he's better in or worse at. So I don't know. For instance, lending and borrowing protocols. Probably somebody is better there than, I don't know, NFT marketplaces. So depending on
Yeah.
what you're auditing, you would start some in X place or in Y place. It differs for me. So then I do a first look at the code base, very superficial, okay, and then I just pick the actual file where I want to start with. Okay, in this case, I had already looked at other contracts, so I would just go to here, the liquidation, okay, and basically this works with the market contract, that it basically, the market contract. I think it's like. So you can actually supply and withdraw ETH and ERC20 tokens, I think, and that goes to a vault that basically has some yields there, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then you have also the borrowing and lending part where you can liquidate and so on. And they are using Chainlink as an oracle. I think they're also using a secondary oracle, but I'm not sure neither. But yeah, so first I have this first review, and then I just pick the file. In this case, it would be this one. And to start, just I go really line to line. This is for auditing. For bug bounties, it's not the case, but we are in auditing now. Just line by line, also the license, the pragmasolidity, and the dependencies. Okay, in this case, I would normally put okay, if there is nothing wrong. Okay, not I don't always do it. I mean, in this code base, I probably wouldn't do it because it's like 3,000 lines of code. Okay, so I will not put it in every line. But depending on the code base, I would do it. Okay, then I would just check the dependencies and check if it's generally a proxy or some upgradable contract, depending if they are diamond proxies or depending on the proxy that they are. Here would be the time where you actually check whether all the structure and everything it's working as intended, and it actually has the structure that it should have. Okay. And yeah, so I do the first review from the dependencies. In this case, I see they are using ownable and access control. Actually, both of them, they are pretty much the same thing. Here you have just roles, I believe, and this is just you have ownable. So you could actually, to my understanding, you can do everything with access control in this case. So I would just check if they are actually using ownable. So in this case, it seems that they are not using it. Okay, so they are just inheriting from it, but yeah, they're not using only owner in any function or nothing like that. So I probably raise this like just information, or you're not using ownable. Okay, I have to still validate more, but we are doing it fast here. So that first, the validation of the dependencies, you see here that they are not using this one. Also, in this case, you could see, for instance, if they are using some safe math or something like that, that it's not really needed in 0.8, or some libraries like Save ERC20, they are actually using it, that it doesn't seem like. So yeah, it's just validating here all the dependencies, and you see we just found what it could be two things that we should put as informational on the audit probably. And then yeah, check everything makes sense. Also, if Open Zeppelin dependencies, they're having historical dependencies where all of them, some of them have actually some bugs. Would check the actual version of the dependency itself. Okay. So I remember there is some dependencies like the one from the signatures that you can actually. I think there is some malleability in some, and yeah, there are several. Obviously, on Open Zeppelin contracts, they make a lot of contracts, so there are some that actually versions that have some problems. So just check that they are not those versions. I have a database that has those versions from all Open Zeppelin contracts, so I will probably tweet it also. But yeah. So first validate everything, and then just go through the inheritances. Okay, inheritances, and yeah, also check if they are inheriting, and the way they are inheriting, because even if there is no big problems, usually you should inherit from the correct way. It's not the same putting ownable here than putting ownable here. It has a small difference. So then just check the structure. In this case, it would be events. Check that all the addresses, not all of them, but usually most of them should be indexed. Okay, depending on what the address is. If the address is a user or an asset, it should be indexed. Okay, then just checking here. Probably here you could have some packing. Okay, so you could here probably I don't think the fee needs 256, but it's not a big problem. You could raise these things as informational or gas or shit. But yeah, it's not really important, just checking everything. And then here they have a custom error, and then you have here some immutables and some private variables. Here you should check, obviously, that they are initializing it here. I think if they are not initializing, the compiler doesn't run, so I think that it's already pre-assembled. And then yeah, check the constructor, how they are actually initializing the contract. Okay, because lot of the issues we saw Curve recently actually happened on the deployment. Okay, Curve had some problem recently with the deployment, and yeah, here you see that there is no input validation. Generally, there is not big problem with input validation in the constructor, because you could add some extra gas that it's not really needed. So just don't put addresses as 0 and put the correct address. That's why, as I said before, the nice partnership that you can have with these companies to actually audit through their lifetime, or actually doing a small amount of time during the week, it's because you can also do some review of the deployment scripts and everything, because a lot of bugs are actually introduced there. I think it happened also with Wormhole and everything that they like that they just passed a wrong address or something like that, and then just you introduce new stuff to the code that you apparently don't see before. So here there is no input validation. I would not raise it. I would just check the deployment scripts, and but yeah, definitely better to probably check it. Then you see here that they are setting it the role, and you see here some view functions. Usually the view functions I skip them at the first time. Okay, honestly, I think probably it's also good to have a look at the first time, but I leave them to the end. Okay, if they are like this small. In this case, quote, for instance, it's also view function, but here, for instance, I would probably check it more because it has some more extent. And yeah, here I could probably see that there is a hard coded path here, so it hard codes from token in to token out, which I have to check more, but I would here put audit issue in this case, okay, and I would put hard hard-coded path, okay? And I would raise it here because actually hard-coded paths, in this case, while swapping and while interacting with texts or anything like that, it's usually not the best approach, because you never know actually the liquidity that's going to be on the other token, on the other pool. You don't know the liquidity that's going to be there. You don't know anything. It might be that it has a low liquidity. It might be that it can happen so many things between those exact paths that I always think that anything that's pretty much hard coded, it can be improved. In this case, I have to check it more, but I would probably raise this one as a medium. But we have to still check it more. But yeah, I would just leave the keyword here and just continue looking, and then I would just go back once I've seen more of the code and just check it again. So then this case, liquidate is probably the main function from this file. Okay, it should be actually. And we see that it's external. It doesn't have non-reentrant, which this is important if we are actually sending back ether to the user, but we don't know still. So we just would actually check liquidate account. And something that I haven't seen a lot of people using, and I don't know if it's really good practice, but I do. If it's a function that it's not very big and it's far away from the other one, okay. In this case, it's not far away, so I wouldn't do it. But let's say it's this cell function, okay, and it's calling it from the other one, from this one here. Imagine there is a cell here, okay. I know it's not the best practice, but to me, it really works to actually comment it here, okay, and put it here, because then I just see it everything again. I just mark here as a section, and then I have it here, and then I don't have to scroll again and just lose my focus on the exact same function. So I do this commenting here, and I haven't seen it, but yeah, this is my personal leak. So yeah, in this case, I wouldn't do it with leak. Sure, where are we? Yeah, I wouldn't do it with liquid account, but definitely I would do it with probably sell in this case. Okay. So we would just be checking liquid account and going through the first review, and then probably we should raise it this when it's also hard coded, and we should probably check if it's meant to be like this, or some problems that it might have. It might probably cause some liquidation stack or something. Hard coding, it's probably never the best way to go. So just checking what's going on here, then you would just go to the library itself. It's a multiv, so it's multiplying and dividing. This you see that it's basis points. This is 100%, so it's a correct number. You should also check this. Check that it's the same version and everything. And yeah, just continue checking. Okay, we see that I think this is a function from a vault. I raised it before, but this vault had a first depositor vulnerability. It's very common on the space. Just basically that the first deposit can be front run and basically back run after, and then just getting all the shares from the user. But yeah, that's on another contract, so we are not going to go there. And then yes, definitely safe approve. It's a good use here. If not, probably if they are using USDT or something like that, it could have some problems. Yeah, I would just do as I said, a first review, going through all these functions and probably pasting it like this if I need. Okay. So I would actually the if the contract is initially like 182 lines, it's less source lines of code, but I would actually, the file would be longer. Okay, which I know that not a lot of people like. It works for me though, so it's what I do. And yeah, so this would be the first review. I would just go through all the main functions and just start commenting and start getting a first knowledge of how the all the code base works, And then after doing the first review, I would go to the docs again. And now that I know how the project is structured and how the files actually kind of are structured, I would really go deep to the docs. That for auditing, not bug hunting, it's different a bit. And yeah, I just go really deep, and then I would just start connecting stuff. And some things that I like to do. Okay, I'm using this one here, Excalidraw. Okay, actually, this one is from this audit itself, and I'm using here some mind maps, and I'm doing probably sometimes some state machines. I'm doing them on paper, those, because I think it's even more better. But yeah, in this case, I did for the market contract and all that stuff. Okay, so I believe if it was for this one here, how was it? How everything works with the supply and borrow. Okay, so I think you could see it here. So supply borrow, it goes to collateral manager. So I kind of do this mind map sometimes to actually envision it better. Okay, and for that I use Excalidraw. I really like it a lot. I actually spot it from from Smart Contract Developer in YouTube. He's a really talented guy. So I spot it from here, from him. And then I probably also use sometimes Miro, but not that much since I discovered this one, honestly. So here just to make everything that you want about the code base, these mind maps, schemas, anything you need. And then on paper, if you want to do some state machines, meaning, for instance, in this case for the liquidations, okay, in liquidations there is so many things that can happen apart from before the liquidation. There users can have more less assets, states can change, lot of things are in the middle. So that's why liquidations always have a lot of issues. If you go to public platforms, any protocol that does borrowing and lending and has liquidations in the middle, you can see that most of the issues are actually in liquidations or something like that, because there is so many things going on. So I think for liquidations, it's a really good function to actually go with hand paper and check all the states that you can actually change or are changed between liquidations or the process. And yeah, so that's also two useful kind of tips that I would give there. And yeah, normally I use it as Calidro, but I also have a whiteboard in my place. I have a very big whiteboard where I kind of do all schemas also there by hand. And I not for all the audits though. If those have to be big audits, if there is a 2 audit file, you don't need big schemas. But definitely it helps a lot to have those tools in hand. So yeah, that's the beginning process and all the tooling and everything that I can think about. And yeah, then after just reviewing the docs again, just go deep through everything, get to know everything, how everything connects together. Because looking at this self function, you are not going to find a lot. If this would be an approved, this could be an issue, but not a lot. This is a hard-coded path. But it's complicated to actually find criticals and highs just looking at the code, at the function itself. You actually have to have the biggest bugs. You find them. How is this self function interacting actually with the market, for instance? Okay, and there is where all these connections you can find the bigger bugs. Okay, If you actually go, as I said, into any public platform, or you read a lot of reports, you see that the most interesting ones, they are not just from here, oh, here there's a typo or shit like that, it's just from having a knowledge of really, really good knowledge of the entire code base, and actually from everything that has to do with the blockchain itself, all of this front running stuff, MEB, cryptography, signatures, I don't know, yeah, Merkle trees, all that stuff. A lot of things, and most impressive findings actually are from knowing external stuff that's not reading Solidity code. So it's a really good tool or knowledge to actually have to find the best stuff. Because reading line by line here, if you don't have the full context, you are probably not going to get nothing else that another guy from this call would get. So actually, you have to be a bit creative, and yeah, try to learn as much as possible also from the other topics that actually bring a good benefit to auditing itself.
How do you approach testing? So you usually try to test the code, try to run the
Yeah.
tests.
Yeah, so actually it depends the framework that it's in. Okay, I think this one is in Hard Hat. Okay. So I think they have a quite small testing right now. So they don't have okay, market. They don't have. I don't think they have enough testing to actually go to production in this case. Testing, I mostly use it to review findings that I'm not sure about. There are a lot of findings that you can review actually without doing a big proof of concept, but there are some findings that you actually need a proof of concept because you are not sure, or even you want to prove it. So then it's where I most go to the testing part. I always, even if I don't do it, I always review the testing though, because at least for big protocols, okay, there are too many things that are being set on the testing that that they will be after on mainnet, that you cannot see them on the code that you're auditing, but there are a lot of variables, functions, and everything that have to be initialized while on mainnet that you don't see on the code itself. They are only in the deployment scripts. So I really review them a lot to actually get to know what's the exact idea once they go to mainnet, and that for testing on while I'm auditing. But it differs a lot actually if we are in Foundry or in Hard Hat, okay, in or in Truffle. I started with Truffle around 2.5 years ago, so I have it completely forgotten. Truffle and Ganache. I know there's still code bases using it, which, yeah, it's not the best for auditors because you actually have to go back if you want to go. So if you want to do some proof of concepts, but luckily mostly are in Hard Hat or Foundry. Definitely, if somebody is developing and it's listening to this call, please do it in Foundry. It's it's much better for all auditors. It's much faster too. To me, I love the traces and everything that you can see, everything on the console. It has so many good things. And I mean, I also like Hard Hat. I'm just more used to Foundry now because it has been my preferred framework for the last 6-8 months. And yeah, so testing mostly reviewing deployment scripts, deployment initializations to get to know what actually it's going to be on mainnet, and to do some proof of concepts when actually it's needed. I'm not doing crazy amount of proof of concepts because they take a lot of time, and I actually want to spend more time auditing than doing proof of concepts. But yeah, definitely I do quite a lot of them too when it's exactly needed. So that's on the testing part.
Amazing, bro. I have a question here. How do you walk through each state? Are you using a tool like AI or just doing it manually?
Can you please repeat the question? Sorry, because
How do
sorry, I have the window open, and I have some external noise. So
No problem, no problem. How do you walk through each state? Are you using a tool like AI or just manually?
how do we work with each state?
I think it's talking about the state machine.
Oh, agree. No, I do it manually mostly. I know there are some tools outside, okay, but mostly it's just manually. It's just because I prefer doing also as I showed before. Okay, this Solidity Visual Developer that it gives you the inheritance that it's very interesting and it gives you automatically. Okay, I even prefer, even if I know that a lot of people like it, I even prefer to do it manually because it's actually how I really learn it from myself, you know. So I prefer doing this. I don't do a lot of state machines, okay, but once I do one, I mostly do it manually. I do it pen on paper, and I just list all the states possible for that case, and how any of them could they change, and what are the actual scenarios where they could change, and yeah, pretty much everything manually on that case. It's pretty much the only thing that I do manually on the auditing part.
How often do you encounter complicated mathematics while auditing?
Oh, um, I would say more often that I like. Yeah, mathematics, complicated mathematics is something that I have an engineering background though, but still, there are some mathematics, especially I would say in protocols like Curve or something like that, that you actually have to put a lot of time in it to really understand it. And yeah, not a lot of them have complex mathematics because also the developers have to understand them. You know, it's not like they just can put crazy stuff there. But yeah, more than I like to. If I could choose, I wouldn't take crazy mathematics, but sometimes they are there, and you just have to go through them, and it takes more time because it's what the assembly and Yule and mathematics. Uh, it's what it takes more time in auditing, I would say. So
And what
I
about
probably, if I should give an estimate, probably 1 out of 5 or 4 code bases have complicated.
wow?
Uh, uh,
What about fuzzing?
Fuzzing, good question. I've done it on the past. I've done it with Echidna and Foundry itself. I don't offer it on audits. I don't really do it on audits. If I have this partnership with the company that I said before, it's very probable that I do it on the libraries. I would do it in Foundry in this case. But yeah, I've tested the Foundry with Echidna and Foundry itself. I obviously the one from Echidna to me it's one step forward, so it's a bit better. But yeah, Foundry it's easier and it's faster, and um, I think it makes the job at least for anybody that's trying to begin in fuzzing. But it's not something that I have on my daily day basis.
Awesome. And I have another question, which is, how do you usually monitor the state changes? You look like at the memory, at the storage, you just look at the function, or, are you compiling and debugging the code as you audit?
Yeah. No. So generally, okay. And there are several functions, okay, that they actually update storage variables. Mostly it's from storage, okay. There are also some state changes that are from memory, but most of them are actually from storage, because they are actually the most shared states. Because memory is just from the local function scope. But yeah, so imagine in liquidations if there are in this case the user balances, or if they have another variable here that it could be, for instance, the fee, how the fee takes a part there, if the fee changes, and then also in this case it would be this asset from this position, and then total supply, how you can actually modify the total supply from this asset to actually trick, in this case, the liquidation or something like that. So it would be every memory and storage variable that actually does take part on that specific function. Yeah.
Another question that I have here is, can you suggest any mathematical source related to security? So maybe the most used algorithms of, some bonding curves. Is any
Yeah.
link, any place for that?
I think for math, I would get to know Uniswap libraries, the ones that they use for V3. I think those are the more complete ones. The fixed point maths, actually, they are very good ones. That I think that's a very good way to start. Then I also think, actually, as you mentioned, bonding curves. I think it would be very good to actually look at this contract here. I actually work in this bonding curve around a year and a half ago. So actually, but yeah, these guys here have a smart contract. I think it's this one here. That it's a bonding curve that it's I think it's using the Bancor formula as the actual formula, and it's very heavy on math. And if you want to go through bonding curves and all that stuff, this repo here will be the pretty much I think the best one I could recommend. It's really good. Uh,
Amazing, bro.
yeah.
Another question: how the different? What is the difference between auditing a protocol that is already live on mainnet and one is not?
Okay. So I wouldn't say it's that much difference. Okay. I find mostly difference if it will be bug hunting the protocol. But on the auditing side, if you are actually in a partnership or contracted by the protocol, to me it's pretty much the same thing. You still have the same repo. You have more information. Okay, because having the protocol in mainnet gives you more outputs. That how is it initialized already, how did it behaved on the past. You can search between past transactions and all that stuff. Actually, it's a very good it's a very good question to be raised, because I remember around 3-4 months ago I did a private audit with you will know Owen, right? Owen.
Yeah, of course, the
Yeah,
boss.
yeah. So we did GMX together, and they actually were deployed in Avalanche and Arbitrum. They were in testnets, okay, and we were able to spot from the testnet transactions itself that they were actually using half the block gas limit only in one of their transactions. So they were using, I think the block gas, I don't remember, but I think the block gas limit in Avalanche is like 8 million, okay, and they were using like 4.5 million gas. So in just one transaction, which it was a really big problem. So yeah, there are just more output that you can, more information that you can have for actually doing the audit, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Have you ever tried to re-implement a feature like conceptually because you maybe doubt the way the developer did it?
I already did what, sorry?
Try to re-implement a feature that you see in the protocol, so it could be some calculation, the way some operations done, but maybe
Yo,
you can
yeah.
do it on a more conceptual level because you don't want to do the whole code.
You mean for my own development stuff? You mean
So let,
implementing?
so let me read the question here for me. Do you ever try to re-implement a feature yourself? Not write out all code, but try to do it conceptually.
Oh, okay. Meaning like understanding so well the code base that you can actually kind of, if you would like, rewrite the contract yourself, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where the question goes, but I would say, yeah, I definitely get to the state, not with all. I would like to get with all, but not with all of the code bases. I get the state that I could write it from scratch, because if it's a code base of, like, as I said, 20 contracts, you're just missing stuff. But yeah, most of the time I want, and I arrive to the state where I know I could mostly write, not perfectly, obviously, but the code base itself again from scratch.
Amazing, bro. Can you speak on a strategy for optimizing the payout for contests and bug bounty versus your audit approach?
Oh, that's a very good question. So on the auditing part, I could speak about two different topics. Okay, in this case, probably private auditing and public auditing, and I will write a very complete blog about it, because I was speaking the other day with a partner, and I was just saying, okay, this should be outside to everybody to see, but the strategy is different for public and private. Okay, so to me, public auditing, okay, as bad as it sounds, it's coming quite overcrowded, okay, which I think now it's still fine, but to more independent, more experienced researchers, having to actually compete against 300 other people to, depending on the audit, make much less than they would make on a private audit. It's becoming worse for actually more experienced researchers to go to public audits. I think you can see it already in Coder in a contest. There is a lot of more people coming, and once they get to the top, like it's the case, I don't know, whoever, Trust or Hans Freezer or some guys like this, that they have been just being the first one on the contest for like 3 contests in a row. You can see that after they just go out and they just do private stuff because it pays better. So I think public auditing, it's really, really cool for at least to get started. And then once you are actually more experienced and you actually have a lot of opportunities outside, just come once in a while. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we had a little bit of a drop, but now we can hear.
Okay. Sorry, my computer. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So once you actually have more opportunities outside and you don't need to do public audits, actually it's very nice to actually come once in a while and just go do an audit for fun. Just meet a lot of people and do an audit shared with another people. The two most actually the 4 person that I get more together now on the auditing world, it's because I've done audits with them. Now I'm doing now I'm doing some development also on the side with the guy that he asked me if he could do an audit with me, and just solely to learn. And even if I know was not going to win nothing, I just took it because I loved really the people that actually take this initiative. And now
Nice.
we are really close. And yeah, I offered yesterday I offered another guy that he is more experienced also. We're going to do also some audits together, and yeah, it's really cool. So I think more people should do audits together, not for the sake of winning rewards, because the rewards will be slashed because you are 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but more to the sake of learning, because you will learn more about the other person's methodology. And then also you meet a lot of people. I mean, not everything is to make the most money on one public audit. You have to understand that all of the people that you're meeting now, it's people that are like-minded as you. Okay, they think the same. They are very disciplined, because all of us that are in this industry are very disciplined, at least to get here. That after you can be more or less, but and there's a lot of future possible relationships on this space for the future, for anything that you have in life. If you want to launch whatever startup in the coming years, or everything, or just life friendships, I think it's really valuable to share our experiences with others. And that's a very good thing that public platforms also do. And yeah, then I went a bit to the roots on sorry.
No problem.
But yeah, so to the public platforms, very good. Okay, it to me it's going a bit of a downtrend, because a lot of too many people are joining at the same time. But definitely there are contests like it just came here, ENS, that they are very complex contests that not a lot of people can submit issues, and you can still get a lot of big rewards. So there are still opportunities, definitely, and there's still people making a lot of money. But if you look at the leaderboard, if it's top 1% that actually they are making what you would say they are making it. So that's public platforms are going a bit to my experience, a bit on a downtrend, because there are too many people. But yeah, also there are the options for researchers and auditors and that stuff will also increment. So the supply and demand, it will increment. So it's also good to have more people, because there will be more opportunities also. Twitter has been crazy in the last 6 months with security, and that's very good, because also more protocols and projects are aware of it. Um, then comparing it to private security, I think most of the researchers, private security meaning private audits independently, and also in a firm, or in a kind of in a DAO, like you would call Spirbit, okay, for instance, that they don't have like this 9 to 5, okay, like for instance Certic has, okay. It's still not 9 to 5 to Certic, but you have like this contract that you can only do Certic, and that's it. Okay, so it kind of divides in this closed auditing companies like Certic and others. Then like the open ones, like I would say it's Spervit and for instance Paladin. Okay, where I'm at, that you just do the audit that are assigned to you, and you have like different roles inside the auditing company itself, and it's completely open. If you can do whatever stuff aside, whatever you want to. It's not closed because they value that the top researchers have so many opportunities that you cannot close them to just you have to do this and that's it, because the researching it's a very free thing. You can do from wherever, whenever. Nobody has to tell you nothing. You're just researching and auditing. You can do it from at whatever time you want, from whenever. So just setting restrictions to that, actually, to top researchers, I think it's a very downplay, and it's nobody likes it. So that's why, to me, if you go to traditional firms that are completely closed, like Certic and so on, you will get an audit that it's I don't want to say it's trash, but I mean, you've seen the reports. The reports speak from themselves.
Yeah,
Uh,
very
you can see other companies, like for instance, Open Zeppelin, taking a very nice approach there. Open Zeppelin actually has almost half of the time for research, independent research of the researcher. He can do whatever he wants. He can research stuff. He can work in a side project. They are just doing auditing for half part-time there in Open Zeppelin, and then the other time it's just for self-improvement of the researcher, which it's a very good incentive there. So most of the really good companies, you will see that they have to take this model, or they already have it, and yeah, that's on the private part. Also, other good point from the private auditing part, at least from the private one that I can say, it's, well, the payout it's kind of much better than public. Okay, so public audits, probably the two first ones, depending on the contest, they do a very good money, but then the other 300, it's not that good. Private audits, you always, depending on the price that you have, okay, you always get a better deal. It depends. The pricing for private audits, I'll not disclose mine exactly, but it's depending obviously on the length of the code base. Okay, so mostly on the amount that it's going to take, and then also it's, well, imagine it has some DeFi math that it's very, very complicated. Then that probably would increase a lot the time that you have to spend. So it would probably be increase a bit. So it's depending on the length and on the amount of source lines of code that actually the code base has. And yeah, then there's different models that you can adopt. I adopt the normal models, the payout model, the normal payout that almost everybody uses. But then there is also the other model that's pay per vulnerability. Okay, so that actually, and it's very good for researchers that actually are starting. Just ask the protocol for a very small, very, very, very small down payment, and then just get paid for every vulnerability that you get. It has his downsides, obviously, also, but if you play your cards well, it will be very, very beneficial for you. Yeah, so that's a model that I also like. I don't use it right now. I've used it on the past when I was starting, and it really played out well. And yeah, even if you have to take an audit just without down payment, just tell them, okay, let me just look at your code, and if I find something, you pay me. I think it's very complicated to say no to that. So yeah, that's the other thing from private auditing. And yeah, I cannot think about something more.
Yeah. I have one more question here from our friend CK, and he's asking, how do you keep track of functions that call to multiple files, functions, or do you only audit each function separately?
So how do I keep track of function that call different? files.
Functions and files, yeah, like a function that is calling, some function on other contract, and then maybe that's calling something on other contract. So I have that huge call stack, or you
Oh
go
yeah,
function by function.
yeah, agree. So mostly, as I said, as I went through the audit, once I see that it's an external call or a function that it's calling another function from the same contract, it's very to the end. Okay, and I just put the function here if it's small. Okay, if it's small enough, I will not put the 100 lines function. But if it's small enough, I just put the. I know it's not common in the industry, but I'll put it here. In this case, for instance, the okay, it's not here yet because it was just an example, but imagine liquidate function, okay? Imagine it's in another file. I would just put it here if it's quite small, and I would just have it here already, so I don't have to go back again to the other one. So that's how I do it to not get crazy once I have to do deep reviews, because even if it's not highlighted, it's not really a big problem here. I mean, if it's not like 100 lines of code, it makes sense to me. It's much better, and I keep track like this. I just copy the function itself and I just put it in a comment. And yeah, I hope that answers the question. I cannot hear you. Yes, sir. I think there is some connectivity problems there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. We can.
Okay, awesome, no problem. So, bro, I was asking if anyone wants to open their mic to put in some points, if they have any questions. I have one more question from our friend here. Do you think standard CTFs like internal, etc., are useful for learning?
Yeah. No question. I think mostly for when you're starting, okay, because I've done it or not done vulnerable DeFi, and I think it was also capture the ether or something like that. I didn't finish that one though, but yeah, I did all of those once I was starting, and definitely it was very helpful because once you're kind of more experienced in everything, there you kind of already mostly know all of the CTFs, okay, because there are not a lot of them that you could not actually exploit. And mostly, I think Ethernet and then vulnerable DeFi are very good CTFs because they are pretty much for everyone. I'd say that they are not crazy difficult. Okay, I've seen some paradigm CTFs that those are more hard. Those are the ones that I think if you are really senior, I think you would target to do. But definitely, it's much better to do them than not to do them. Definitely.
Awesome, brother. I think we have any more questions. Regarding becoming a senior and getting your knowledge level up now, what is your process?
So I think it's just experience. You can get there faster or slower. Okay, you can put more hours or less. It's to me, it's mostly really reading past reports. Lot of them. Whatever report you find. But I mostly prefer reading Sperbit and C4 and Sherlock. I think it's the three best auditing companies that exist. Um, and then I also like a lot Open Zeppelin. But yeah, just reading all of the reports that these guys have, you will see how they think. Not all of them are seniors, obviously, but even if you are not senior, you may have very good knowledge on a specific topic or part to actually have findings of a really senior guy. That's why it's really cool to have these open auditing platforms that you could see guys that probably haven't been not auditing for long getting a solo high because they knew what some Merkle tree specific stuff was, Um, so really read a lot of past reports and do a lot of audits. And doing a lot of audits, it gets there with time, I would say, because it's not very beneficial to have 6 audits ongoing because you are not going to be really good on none of them because you have to really understand everything that you're seeing. Um, so it just gets with time. I wouldn't say do more than two audits at the same time, not more than that. Um, and just time, man. Get to meet people that are no more than you. get to meet people that know the same as you, get to experience audits with other people, read a lot of reports, and just do audits and audits and audits and read reports, and you will get there.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Another question. What do you focus on when doing bug hunting on Immunify? How does it difference from the standard audit? Do you prefer
Yeah,
speed running or deep understanding?
that's a very good question, and yeah, so Immunify it's a bit different. Okay, so I will not say all the alphas because I want to keep some Immunify alpha for me because Immunify it's really about the time. But how I go there, I don't really look at the docs on Immunify. Okay, in this case it would be CK Sync. Okay, we are here just by accident. And imagine they just launch a new bug bounty, or they just updated some assets, or even if it has been a long time they are already there, probably I don't really look at the ones that have been a long time, but sometimes if you have the time, you just go there and just jump there. I don't really look at documentation in Immunify, at least at the beginning, and I just check the payout. If the payout is in a weird token without liquidity, I don't start it. There are so many tricks that they actually do that it makes the experience a bit worse. But yeah, so in this case, it would be CK Sync. I would just go through the contracts. I would probably do not get first to them on code faucet because it seems like it's a bit more abstract. I would probably go first to some governor, or but yeah, probably I would go to the bridge. Okay, I think this could be the one that would have more issues. Then I would just read the read a bit the contract, and the way of thinking in bug hunting and auditing, it's very different. Okay, so here there is none going line by line watching comments. It depends what you're actually trying to do, but if you are actually trying to bug hunt before others in a new deployed contract or something, it's just okay, ERC20 breach. Okay, so I will not raise that here. Probably you can front run this, we don't care, and just go to actually the really important parts. Actually, when value is being transferred, when a lot of issues with gas limits are working here, so I would probably focus a lot on this function. And yeah, not documentation need, at least at the beginning. If you are on the medium on the path to actually doing the proof of concept, and you think you're missing something because you don't really know what the code base does itself, you just have to go to the code base, to the doc sometime. That's just how it is. You have to know what you're proof of concepting. But yeah, that's the strategy if you kind of want to get the bug before others, because I've been on the case, and I know a lot of people that have been kind of front run their bug like for like from 2 hours. It's becoming also more people are actually bug hunting each time, so there is more people actually targeting the same contracts. So that if you are actually a bit in a hurry, if you don't care, and if you just want to go to whatever protocol and just go deep in it, and try to find something that other auditing platforms couldn't find, you just will not be able to find it just going fast. Okay, I think fast it's more for just deployed uh, protocols that just launched the program or updated some things, and they just deployed, and there could be a lot of errors there. But yeah, if you really want to find something that nobody has found, you really have to go line by line deep again and just get the entire connection. It's pretty much the same thing as auditing. But the mindset, though, it's to myself, it's just review mostly critical points, because to my experience, they do not take uh, very low hanging stuff, which makes I would say probably makes sense. But yeah, do not focus on low hanging stuff. Just try to find the critical or high. Don't settle for less than that, I would say. We lost you. We lost you again.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Can you talk a little bit about how we can change small vulnerabilities into a big one?
Yeah, sure. So well, I think that pretty much comes alone, and I don't think you can actually make it happen. It's more common than it seems, actually. but generally that happens when you have kind of two mediums, or like high medium, or medium two lows, or something like that. That everything combined, actually, if you're getting a blank spot there, or if you're connecting both and the calculations are wrong or something, it can really make a really bad impact on the protocol. I don't think there is a way to spot that. I don't have a specific methodology for that. It just happens to be there. I don't know. I don't know what more to say on that one.
Awesome, bro. No problem. Last question for you is, how do you go about communicating with platforms like Communify when disclosing a bug? What are some good practices? Sometimes the communication with said company doesn't go so well. Is it just
Yeah.
a part of bug hunting?
Yeah. So that's a very good question, and it's something I think. But I've seen a lot of people here that they see familiar on the call. I know also a lot of them had go through the same process. That really they have a really cool finding. It's completely valid. It's even higher critical. But the protocol just say they don't care, or they will not update it, or it's a duplicate or something. Like, they put whatever excuse, out of scope. We all know them. But yeah, to protect yourself, it's very complicated to apply something to that. Always try to make the best proof of concept possible. The issue with that, it's once you have had like five experiences that are not nice, you don't want to actually have a really good proof of. You don't actually have to spend 3 hours doing a proof of concept, because you really think they're going to take it down. So it's like you think you're losing your time. But definitely, if you want to have the most chances to being accepted, you have to have a very good proof of concept, first of all. Then you just have to see what's going on with the protocol. There is a guy, I think it's called Riptide. Okay, I think he has a place where he puts all the protocols that do not pay, or something like that. I will try to find also too, and also that resource too, and let's see if I can tweet it. But yeah, I would say it's part of the job. It sucks for researchers. That a lot of protocols just are there just to bump their audience, or just to gain more marketing, and they pretty much don't pay, and then just they exit the bug bounty, and they simply don't pay. But there are a lot of them that they also pay, so um, it will just come. It will take some time, definitely.
Amazing, brother. Thank you so much for the time today. This was amazing. I learned so much, and I'm sure everyone is happy. I mean, this was the fullest meeting we had so far. A lot of people, up to 57 persons. Thank you so
Perfect.
much. I
Okay.
want I wanted to ask if you have any closing thoughts.
If I have any closing thoughts.
Yeah, anything you want to message, any message you want to leave to the people that are listening.
Well, absolutely. First of all, thanks all of you for joining. It actually means quite a lot. Um, I tried to give as much alphas as possible. I'm seeing some comments that actually you guys liked it, so really grateful for that. And also, always try um, to teach as much as possible to whatever people Can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So my computer. So always try to teach as much as possible to other people. Okay, because all of us are here because we learned from public sources. Okay, you could have paid something, but most of you and me and everybody is here because we learned from public sources. And to simply, in my case, I enjoy teaching people, or sharing a lot of resources, because it's the way I learned also, and it's free, which to me it's the best way to do it. And yeah, I think we have a very good community on the space. I've seen that everybody is on one, in the same path. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and it was very it was very nice to meet you all.
Thank you so much, brother. Talk to you later. Thank you, everyone, and talk to you guys later. Bye bye.
Perfect. Perfect. Ciao, guys.